Hi, welcome back to another bike law video. I'm Daniel Flanzig, a partner in the law firm of Flanzig & Flanzig, also known as New York Bike Lawyers. So today we're going to talk about a police accident report and the collision investigation squad and when they respond to the scene of a crash and what the two reports look like and why they're different. So typically, if you're involved in a crash, the police will respond. They will prepare a police accident report that is normally a 2 to 3 page document, which includes the information about the people involved, their driver's license information, date of birth, things like that. There's not a lot of detail in a police accident report. It will have a short description about how the police officer believes a crash occurred and any statements that may have been made by any of the operators. It will have a list of any passengers in the vehicle. It will have the date of birth of the operators and if they were transported to a hospital, what hospital they were transported to. And that's usually used and involved in a crash, and it could be a serious injury, but not a life-threatening injury. When the crash involves what we call death or likely to die, the NYPD will dispatch what's known as the Collision Investigation Squad. The CIS is made up of a number of detectives who are specially trained in crash investigation. And their job on scene, once the scene is secured by the responding police officer, is to engage in a much more lengthy and investigative process. And their role, if done properly, is to gather much more information about the crash and to determine fault and the cause of the crash. Something usually not done by the responding police officer in a PAR, and typically his or her opinion about the cause of the crash is not even admissible. But when the Collision Investigation Squad, who are experts in the scene of accident reconstruction, their job is to determine causation or the cause of the crash. And how do they do that? They respond to the scene, they interview all the witnesses, they search for witnesses via 911 calls, they will collect and use any other data they could find. Quite often it is video, and video can be found from the side of an adjoining building, from inside a lobby looking out onto a street, looking for the vehicles involved when they pass by this camera. Is the crash actually caught on video? You'll be amazed how often we find the crash caught on video from a camera that may be a little bit further away, but if properly enhanced, we can actually see the collision caught on the camera itself. So the Collision Investigation Squad, they respond and they conduct a much more lengthy and investigative process. They will impound the vehicles and they will inspect the vehicles and look for defects and whether or not any mechanical defects in this vehicle caused or contributed to the crash. And when all done, rather than a 2 or 3 page report, CIS produces a 50-page report, which will be inclusive of everything that they found, from witnesses to road conditions to video to any drugs that may or may not affect the operator's ability to operate a bicycle, pedestrian, car. All of that is included into the CIS report, creating much more useful and extensive investigation into a crash and hopefully determining an appropriate cause and foundation and conclusion as to why the crash occurred and who is at fault. Now, I say that with a little bit of skepticism because quite often I don't agree with what I see from the CIS, and a lot of times what I see is sometimes not accurate. But it is a lot of information for us to use and to help me prosecute my cases. And even if I don't rely upon their opinions and formations of their opinions, I do have that data to use on my own and go out and hire my own investigator and hire my own accident reconstruction and use those photos and that video they collected to prosecute a case on behalf of my clients. So that's the difference between a normal police accident report and police investigation and the dispatch of the Collision Investigation Squad and what they do and when they do it. Thanks for listening. See you soon.